Dave Birkett here from the Detroit Free Press and Freep.com. Glad to be joined today by Detroit Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St Brown. Amon-Ra joins us on behalf of General Mills Cereal as part of the Cereal Celebrations feature they're running this fall. I think everyone out there remembers the touchdown celebration Amon-Ra did last year against the Green Bay Packers, the headstand at Lambeau Field. That image will be on Honey Nut Cheerios boxes in your grocery aisle this fall. Amon-Ra will be featured in a series of TV commercials as well, along with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Those were my three first-team All-Pro receivers last year. And Amon-Ra, we'll get to all that in a second. But first, how's your summer going?
Been going great, man. Was able to do the shoot with General Mills about 2 months ago, which was a lot of fun. But other than that, man, just training, getting ready for camp.
It's coming up here, football season around the corner. I don't know about you, but I feel like the Lions are kind of creeping under the radar a little bit. Like last year, you were everybody's Super Bowl pick in the NFC. This year, people talk about the tough schedule, losing Ben Johnson, Frank Ragnow's retirement. I don't know if you get that sense too, but what's it like being the underdog again?
I feel like we've been since I've been in Detroit, I feel like we've been the underdog for most of my time there. So we're kind of used to it. Obviously, I feel like teams know we're a good team, but we still have to, we feel like we got to prove it in the playoffs. We got close 2 years ago in the NFC Championship. Obviously, last year, lost our first playoff game, which was tough. But, we know we got a good team. Teams know we're a good team, but we just got to be able to, obviously do it in the regular season and then doing what matters most in the playoffs. So we got a tough schedule. Everyone knows that too. I think it's going to make us, I think it's going to be good for us throughout the season to play a bunch of good teams because, once you do get in the playoffs, you're going to play all those good teams that you played in the regular season. So I think it's going to be a good test for us.
Yeah. Training camp here coming up shortly. There's going to be a lot of focus on the offense with Ben gone, with John Morton calling plays. I know John said he's going to lean into what you guys already did well. But what changes? How do you think the offense will be different this fall?
I think the offense will be pretty similar, but also different. We're going to do things that, we've been good at for the last two or 3 years here. Things that we've succeeded as an offense. We're going to keep those, those main concepts and those main plays in, those main, run schemes. Hank's still here, so he does a lot of the run game stuff for us. So a lot of the run game is going to look similar. Pass game, a lot of stuff that we were good at, we're going to keep. But then, Johnny Moe is going to add some wrinkles. He's going to do stuff that he likes, stuff that has worked for him in the past, stuff that he feels like we can do as an offense with the type of players that we have. So we're excited for it. We were able to see a glimpse of it during OTAs, but once camp starts, we're going to be able to, really with the pads on and everything, be able to mesh the run game with the pass game and just kind of see who we are, kind of not get a new identity, but every year is a little different. You kind of figure out what you're good at. And so I think we'll figure that out during camp and obviously as the season goes, but I think we're all excited.
Yeah, no, you're right. With Ben, you all knew each other so well. I think everyone knew what the identity was, and it was like a level 401 class in college, if that makes sense. It's still you and Jared and JMO and Gibbs and David and, kind of everybody that was a key part of that. But how do you ensure you pick up where you left off last year? Like, what did you all do collectively as an offense this summer, or what do you need to do in camp to know this offense will be as explosive as ever?
Yeah, I think just buying in. I think, we have the players, we have the guys. Everyone knows the talent that we have as an offense. But, when you've been around the same offense for 3 years, you kind of know what to expect. You feel like you know the offense. You don't really have to study. I think bringing in a new, with Johnny Moe coming in, it's kind of been a refreshing kind of thing for us because, especially for me, I feel like I'm now back in the playbook studying because I have to. It's new plays, it's new formations. And I think everyone kind of feels that way. We feel like, we're eager to learn the new offense to, do different things. Not saying that, Ben's offense is great, but obviously it's going to be a different offense. So we all got to lock in and buy in, which is the most important thing. And at the end of the day, players make plays. I don't care who your coach is, how good he is, how bad he is. If you got, players that are going to go out there, play together, and they're talented, I think that's the biggest thing. So we know we got the players. We just got to, put the work in and stack days.
I mentioned Frank's retirement. If it's Tate Rattlage at center, the rookie, what were your first impressions of him from the spring?
He was solid. It's a little tough, I think, for linemen with no pads. And I'm not really watching linemen when I'm out there. I'm watching the skill guys, watching my position group. So, and I haven't seen too much, but from what I've heard, I mean, he's doing great. Obviously, it's a learning curve when you go from the college to the pros, but I think he's doing a great job.
Joined again by Amon-Ra St. Brown with General Mills cereal. You'll see his headstand touchdown celebration on Honey Nut Cheerios boxes in your grocery aisles this summer. And Amon-Ra, I didn't realize this until I was prepping a little bit for this interview, but you're still just 25. Two first team All Pro selections so far. You got a shot to move up to third on the Lions all-time receiving list this fall behind Calvin Johnson and Herman Moore. You're on cereal boxes nationwide, like some of the great athletes of every generation. Does any of this surprise you? Like even how fast it's happened for you?
Um, Probably I feel like if you told me like 5 years ago that this was all going to be, happening, I would probably tell you, yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I feel like it doesn't happen, you don't wake up one day and it happens. I feel like or to me, it's a slow progression. So it honestly hasn't been too crazy for me. Because like I said, I feel like it's kind of been, I've been working towards this and it's been happening for the past, 3 years. So um, I wouldn't say it's a surprise now. But like I said, if you had told me this 5 years ago when I was coming out for college, I'd be like, damn, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
right now, man, I'm living in the moment. I'm having fun. And I mean, I'm having fun doing all of this stuff, shoots with General Mills, playing football, winning games, all that stuff is a lot of fun.
What's been your pinch me moment in the NFL so far? Like something you accomplished or an opportunity that you came your way, an accolade, whatever that you were like, wow, this is what I always wanted to be. I'm doing this. I'm doing what I always dreamed of.
Um, that's a good question. I would say, my first Pro Bowl was, although I was the alternate, that was a big moment for me because I feel like as a kid, um, you watch the Pro Bowl games, it's before the Super Bowl and it's, all the best players in the league are there together, just having fun. So when I made my first Pro Bowl, that was a big. I feel like for me that was a cool moment, something that I'll never forget. Being an All Pro for the first time was cool. Going to the NFC Championship was a fun experience because I mean that's one of the bigger games besides the Super Bowl in the NFL. So that was awesome. And then other than that is I would say, I mean, commercial shoots like the General Mills
Yeah.
was that's another thing I feel like as a player, for me growing up, I used to always eat Honey Nut Cheerios as a kid. And I remember reading, I'd be sitting there eating it and I'd read the back of the box because when you're eating, I didn't have a phone, I was young. And I would just eat and then there's nothing to do when you're eating the cereal. So you just, read the back of the box and while you're eating it. So to be on, you know, have a commercial and be on, a cereal box with General Mills and Honey Nut Cheerios. I mean, when I think of the most OG Cheerios, I'm thinking Honey Nut Cheerios. So to be, doing my headstand on the box, that's like I said, at the time, probably in like 10 years, I'm gonna be like that was crazy. But right now for me, it's not too crazy because I feel like it's happened slowly. But that's something that I'll look back and be like, that was an insane time.
As well. All right, so let's talk about touchdown celebration since that headstand is immortalized now on Honey Nut Cheerios boxes forever. I think it was Jalen Walthall, if I remember the name correctly, from Incarnate Word, who first pulled it off in a game. Then it was you and Drake London did it like minutes apart from each other. Tell me how the headstand for you came about.
Yeah, so I saw what's his name again, Jalen.
Jalen Walthall, if I looked it up.
Yeah, so shout out to Jalen. I saw him do it. I think it was the night before our game or something like that. That's usually when my celebrations come about too. It's like
Yeah,
usually hours before the game or the night before. I saw him do it. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. I feel like I can pull that off. So I get into the locker room. This is before the Green Bay game. I think our game was we had the second slot of games. So there was the 1 o'clock games were before us. And so Drake had done the headstand before because he was playing before us. I'm like, damn, he already did it. I'm gonna have to probably do something else. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna still do it. Drake did it, but I feel like I can still do it.
yeah.
So I ended up scoring, and I was like, I think I was the first touchdown of the game. So I did it, and I mean, once I saw it after the game, the picture that I think the Lions got, or I forgot who, with Tim Patrick behind me, it just felt like everything happened at the right time, and I didn't know it was gonna blow up like it did. And then sure enough, man, everyone just gravitated towards it. They started making graphics, socks, snowman, cakes. It was crazy. So and now it's on, the Honey Nut Cheerios box. So the way it came about was it was organic. And I think it just worked out. It was perfect timing.
Did you like practice it in your hotel room ahead of time? Have you done that in your past? Headstands like that?
No, so I feel like, as a kid, I used to be on like trampolines and stuff. I've done like handstands where you stand on your, obviously everyone knows what a handstand is. I've done those. I've done headstands, but it would be a headstand with my hands on the ground. So I'd see how long I can hold that. But no, I never practiced it before that time on the when I did in the game, because I feel like as a kid I used to do stuff like that. So I was like, I'm sure I can do it. And so that was my first time doing that headstand, and it looked great.
Iconic photo for sure. All right, couple last minutes here with Amon-Ra St. Brown. What if anything did you hear from the incarnate word receiver after the celly?
Say it again.
Did you reach out to the incarnate word receiver? Did he hit you up on social media? Was there any interaction between the two of you after that?
No, I never heard anything from him. I don't know if he reached out to me. If he did, I didn't see it. But I didn't reach out to him. But like I said, shout out to him.
Yeah.
I got it from him. He's the OG. He created it.
How about other celebrations that you've had, like ones more inclusive with teammates? What's the level of coordination that goes into pulling those off?
Honestly, I feel like everyone kind of has, everyone kind of has their own say. Everyone brings their ideas to the table. This is usually around like Friday practices, Saturday walkthroughs. Everyone starts, when the defense is out there doing their 10 play drives, and we're as an offense is chilling, us talking about stuff. Usually that's when we start talking about celebrations.
Yeah.
And if we want to do a group celebration, if someone sees something on, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it is, they'll bring it up, and we'll be like, man, we can all pull that off. But some guys are a little more stiff than others, so you gotta kind of be aware of that. But man, we just have fun with it. We just try to do stuff that we feel like, obviously we're gonna enjoy, but that other people are gonna enjoy watching too. So, football at the end of the day is a sport to have fun. And I feel like for me as a kid, I used to always watch NFL football. I wasn't a huge college guy. I used to always watch NFL, and I just remember like being able to celebrate was what the NFL was known for. Like when you score in the NFL, you can't celebrate. In college, you couldn't celebrate. At least when I was in college. In high school, they threw penalties, they threw flags. So I was never really able to celebrate until I got to the league. So I told myself when I get to the league, I'll make sure, when I score, I'm gonna have fun, because you don't get to score often.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might not score for 5-6 weeks. So I enjoy it when I score, and I try to, celebrate and have fun in the end zone.
Well, I showed my son Jack the cereal boxes of you, of Justin Jefferson. He's on Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Of Jamar Chase, he's on Lucky Charms. I think all three of you are on Reese's Puffs. First he said that's sick. He wants all of them, but also he's 10, and he said he wants his own cereal one day, just like that. So what is this like for you to be on a box of cereal that you grew up eating?
Man, it's honestly like, I would say it definitely is surreal. But like I said, right now in time, like I was on Sports Illustrated. As a kid, I knew Sports Illustrated was a big deal, but when I was doing it at the time, I was just like, okay, let's do the shoot. It's not a big deal. But I feel like as I get older and as things, slow down for me, I'm gonna just be able to sit back and react and realize how crazy all this stuff is. So to be on the box, like at the time, everything's moving so fast. It's obviously it's insane. I was as a kid eating Honey Nut Cheerios. That's the first cereal I ever ate, was Honey Nut Cheerios. I vividly remember being at home eating Cheerios. So to be on the box it's definitely a dream come true. Um, and to be able to tell my kids, I feel like one day that I was on the
Yeah.
box. Because I remember my dad texted me when I was telling him I was doing this deal with General Mills, I was going to be on the box. He's like, man, that's a huge congratulations. That's huge. He said, as a kid growing up, he always wanted to be on the box. So I think that's my one up on him, is I'm on a Honey Nut Cheerios box, and he wasn't. So
That's awesome. All right, two very last questions here. One, so again, I mentioned, Jamar Jefferson or Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson also on General Mills cereal boxes. They're you three were my first team All Pro receivers last season. They're all on your schedule this year. You know, you and Chase were the same draft class. You and Justin are the same division. I don't know if there's a like a wide receiver you like the tight ends do, but what's the friendship like with you guys? And even if it doesn't run too deep, what is the level of admiration you have for those other guys at the top of the position in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I love I got a lot of respect for a lot of receivers in this league, especially those two guys. I came in with Jamar Chase, like you said, Justin Jefferson. We're in the same division. We play each other twice a year, so we play a lot of the same teams because we're in the same division. So I see a lot of his tape when we're watching film. Play a lot of the same opponents. So man, I love watching him play. I think watching Justin play, his competitiveness, the way he competes out there every day, every play, each Sunday. I feel like he's never takes any plays off. And that's something that I really respect about him. Obviously, he's talented and all that. We all know that. But just his competitiveness is what really, what I really admire about him. And then Jamar Chase, man, the season he had last year, winning the Triple Crown is really, really tough to do in this league. So for him to do that was, I mean, that's something I feel like every receiver wants to accomplish one day is to win the Triple Crown. That was huge. So to be around them, I mean, like I said, did the camps with Jamar Chase when I was in high school. We're in the same high school class. So it's always fun to be around them, talk to them, see how they're doing, catch up, how their camp's going, OTAs, whatever it may be. And just being around, guys that you feel like are at the top of their game. It's always, it's a lot of love, a lot of respect for those guys.
And let's end it with the Lions question. Can you just define what a successful season is for you? And I wonder how that's changed just with, losing to the 49ers a couple of years ago, the Washington game last year. We've talked about the all-pro selections and numbers, what those mean, but I'm sure that gives you some perspective on what really matters at the end of the day. So define a successful season in that regard.
I think a successful season for us at this point in time is a Super Bowl. So if we don't win the Super Bowl, there's no, I mean, obviously you want to win games in the regular season because that's still a point in time. But I feel like if we win 9, 10 games and win the Super Bowl, no one's going to care about what happened during the regular season. Now, if we win 15, if we go 16-1 and lose an NFC Championship, that's not a successful season. So for us, we obviously want to, have home field advantage, win the North, do all that stuff because that gives you an advantage. But at the end of the day, man, whatever it takes to get into the playoffs and win the Super Bowl, that's a successful season for us.
He's Amon-Ra St. Brown, Detroit Lions wide receiver. New Honey Nut Cheerios, pitch man. Pick up a box in your grocery aisle. The art's awesome. He's on the cover, living a childhood dream. I'm Dave Birkett, and that'll do it for us here on Freak.com.